Welcome back to the Webby O'Neill channel, and after a decade-long problem of Manchester United continuously overspending on transfer fees, Sir Jim Ratcliffe gives the middle finger to PSG over the transfer fee demands over Ugarte. Get involved in today's video, Reds, as ever, with your own opinions. But first of all, how did you sleep last night hearing that news that United are looking at alternative options for Ugarte?
United have got lots of options. It didn't bother my sleep. Straight hit the pillar. Didn't worry about it. I know they've got options and they'll be looking elsewhere. So not too worried. Didn't disturb me. But I've got to say, we all must agree. I can't see anyone not agreeing that PSG are trying to pull our pants down here big time and United aren't having it. I also got to acknowledge that I think United are worried about the PSR rules, the financial situation, the overspending and that. They are, to me, working with their hands tied behind the back. So I think that's got something to do with it as well.
Yeah, United are looking at alternative options, but still keeping dialogue open, reported from David Ornstein.
Yeah, keeping dialogue open. I don't understand that, because what's concerned me is how is it United have been talking to him for nearly 2 months and didn't know the fee? You've got to remember, personal terms with Ugarte was agreed long ago. So PSG and United have been talking for nearly 2 months. How is it that the negotiation team didn't find out about the fee? It baffles me. So that's worrying. 2 months we've been waiting. We all thought that as soon as they'd done their deal for their player they wanted, spending a lot of money, that as soon as that deal was done, we would get Ugarte. So where was the negotiations for nearly 2 months? All we've heard is reports that they're in negotiations. When do you start negotiating the price? Surely that's at the beginning, because the personal terms are sorted with the player and Manchester United.
Do you think they've obviously kept it open, the dialogue in discussing the terms, the fee, as long as they have? Because this is a player that they really want, and it's probably maybe the #1 target on a list of maybe 3 or 4 players.
If you go in for a dialogue, then you start the price bidding. You know what you're going to pay, what you feel the player is worth. Surely Manchester United would have said, this is what we value the player at. That's what it starts at with negotiations. So all these reports will have drove many United fans mad. And then to find out that they're not happy with the fee, what PSG want, that is baffling. So really, there's some questions to be asked there about what negotiations were actually going on when the player himself has agreed to be a Manchester United player.
Yeah, actually making a stand, not giving in to high ransom demands from other clubs. When you've looked at it in the past of a decade-long problem, like we mentioned earlier,
yeah,
you know, short term, you're looking at transfers like Anthony, Casemiro, high transfer fees, late on as well in the transfer window. Do you think them days are gone now?
I think they've gone. I think the rules what are in place, as I said before, are hampering. The money's just not out there at all anywhere, certainly not in this country. Clubs are now frightened to death because of the financial implications. So big fees really are a struggle. And when you look back to the fee what Everton wanted, there again, another team what was trying to pull our pants down. And United have put 2 fingers up to them all and said, we're not doing it. So I like that stance, but what I don't like is the long-term negotiations coming to nothing. That seems to me same old, same old. So something clearly hasn't changed in that perspective.
But having this strong stance, though, it could affect us in the transfer market this summer, where we actually come out empty-handed.
That is a possibility. It's a big possibility, a big worry, and it's a big frustration amongst us all. We've said this time and time again, but they've got targets. I was always confident that if a player, it broke down any negotiations, that they had other targets in mind. So there's always someone to go for. But United fans out there, me and you sat here, will turn around and go, well, hang on, why are we bringing in players who are second, third, fourth, fifth choice down the pecking order? That, to me, doesn't sound as though it's a good strategy. Why are we bringing in players what we've already got, basically. Because if someone is the fifth choice, they're not the best. They're not the best for Manchester United. So that's a big worry. And I think a lot of United fans will be saying, what's going on here?
Yeah, we're going to get in a discussion of Manchester United's alternative options, which I'm sure you've all seen the reports this morning. Just like to thank everyone for joining us as well, saying hello in the chat. Let us know where you're actually watching us from as well. I'm just going to read out a comment from Dino. He says, I don't mind not paying the ridiculous amount for the player. What bothers me is that the season starts next week and it feels like there's not enough time to get someone in that midfield area. And that is a concern for a lot of Manchester United fans, that midfield area. Yeah,
we've continually gone on about that midfield area and also getting players in. We know the midfield. This is where I'm at odds with myself. Yes, we've got other targets to go for, but Ugarte was the number one target for that midfield. And we all know there's a big problem in that midfield. And also, leaving it till late, it seems like same old, same old. End of the transfer window. That is not good for the start. Manchester United desperately need. They need to be all on the same wavelength, not bringing in players a month after the season started. It just seems ridiculous that we're going back to what we've been used to. These people, and I say negotiations, and then they come to nothing. What's going on?
You're talking about what we've been used to. It'll only be what we've been used to if at the end of that transfer window you see Man United give in to the ransom demands for PSG want, or pay even higher what the original price was.
Yes,
surely.
But what there's different ways people out there will look at it. There's different ways I look at it, and that's why it's frustrating. I don't want I don't want to have a player who's third, fourth choice. This is Manchester United. Every Manchester United fan would say, I want that player, okay? And if we don't get that player, then we need another top-class player. We don't want someone who's fourth, fifth choice. So at the end of the day, it is a struggle. There is different ways of looking at it, and I'm not too sure how we get around this. United know they can't get around with it because of the financial restrictions.
One thing we might be able to do to get around it, like Rav D says in the chat, just get Ugarte on a loan deal. I have seen that mentioned over the past week or two, but from what we're seeing now in reports yesterday and this morning, that's off the table from PSG. They want a fee.
Yeah, they want a fee. That's the reports out there. And people talking about a loan deal, very difficult to get that over. And if negotiations have been going on for 2 months and they couldn't even sort out over 2 months what fee was demanded or what United wanted to pay, how difficult is the negotiation for the loan? No, PSG are pulling Man United's pants down and we're not having it. Simple as that. They've walked away and they shouldn't go back into it. And at the end of the day, you never know. PSG might come back and go, we've relented. And if they do, it might be too late because we've gone on to another target and sorted out a fee and done a deal.
Yeah, just going to read off a couple of comments from our members club. Craig is watching us from Belfast. Kenneth is watching us from the Philippines.
Thank you.
Just gone 7:40 at night. Baz says we want top quality players. We don't want bit part players.
That's the thing, and I've got to agree with that. We want top quality players. If we're going for 5 players and we only end up with 2, that's fine. The quality players. Let's not go for mediocre players. I don't see the point of it. We want to go forward. We want to improve. Ten Hag needs the tools, right, to get what we want and what Ineos and Sir Jim Ratcliffe are demanding. He's not going to be given the best tools if we're going for the 4th or 5th choice. That's how I see it. And in the end, Erik ten Hag will be the scapegoat of the media and of fans.
Yeah, Ansel says the Neves price from Benfica to PSG was dodgy, if you ask me. Very dodgy. Watch Ugarte go out on loan to Benfica. Now, coming into this transfer window, we should have all known, really, by the stance they took on getting Dan Ashworth in from Newcastle to Manchester United and how that played out. You know, a lot of reports at the time when it first come about stated £20 million as a release for Dan Ashworth. And from recent reports, it's been down to £3 million. Well, so it has worked in some areas already at United.
Yeah, it works in some areas, but Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos have come in and they've come in with guidelines. This is how we're going to do it. unfortunately, this is football. The rules and regulations, what they work in their business around the world, are totally different to football. Football is unique, our negotiations and what's paid, what's paid to a player. Absolutely mind-boggling fees what they're on, and it's mind-boggling fees what you have to pay for a player. But that's the world they've come into, right? And now they're learning. I think they might end up learning the hard way and might have to change how they look at their policy. Obviously, they haven't got the money there. We all know that. Some people are forgetting the rules are restricting United how much. I think Sir Jim Ratcliffe would have loved to have come in and stuck 100 million into the kitty to go towards players, and this situation wouldn't have been there. But we're restricted. Financial restrictions tell us that. Proper hampering how we conduct business.
Yeah, I'd just like to ask you all out there, you're happy with this stance as well from Ratcliffe and Ineos in terms of transfer fees and not having the pants down like Tony says? Zoran, hi from Boston. Thanks for joining us, my mate. Going on to one of the options that's been reported, and that's Sander Berge. So do you expect this fella to be like second on the list for the midfield area, or do you think we'll actually go out and maybe speak to a couple of targets and get actual personal terms agreed?
I think personal terms can be agreed. They seem to be the easiest thing to be done. And you look where the player's coming from, his stats and all that, what people are going on about out there. To me, yeah, they look fine, but stats are different than what you actually see with your own eyes. They can be manipulated into like a bargaining tool. I don't see this player as being the number one target. Or even the second target. I think they might have missed a few players what they had on the sheet, what they were looking at. I'm not happy with this. If it ends up this, I know we've got another player there. Hopefully he can do well. I'm not knocking the kid for what he's done in football, but this is not the targets Manchester United should be going for. If they want the best in class, they've got to go for it. And if they can't get the best in class, stop piling up people inside this club what ain't got up to scratch.
Yeah, I'm not too sure the exact transfer fee, because when I've looked on it from Sheffield United to Burnley with Sander Berge, I think it was an undisclosed fee, but I'm sure I've seen reports of roughly 20 to 25 million pound. Now, we've got Sofian Amrabat. Would it be a better deal to bring him back on a roughly 10-15 million pound outlay for him instead of going for Sander Berge? Do you think he's even in the reckoning anymore, Amrabat?
I think Amrabat's still being talked about. This player's being talked about. Which is the best? I don't know. Not personally. I don't know this player. I've not really had eyeballs on him playing football. I've seen Amrabat. I like Amrabat. Is he good enough? Listen, for the money what they're talking about, I think United would never pay that. I think they'd want to pay half. And this player, I think, really, you should be paying half again what's being reported because of where he's coming from and the financial restrictions.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you. I don't know too much about him. Obviously, I've heard his name touted about, especially last season. And I just looked on some fan forums on Sheffield United, Burnley, if you can trust what comes out of their mouths. But they don't seem to think he's that like midfield destroyer, that tough tackling number 6 that I think we desperately need at Manchester United.
We desperately need someone to command that midfield. Our midfield's been wide open. They don't seem to talk to each other. Some players go missing in the game. We need someone who can show authority, who people can look up to when they walk in the club and go, this is a class player. I don't see any alternative at the moment than Ugarte as a class player. I'm not saying Ugarte is brilliant. What I'm saying is he ticks all the right boxes for me coming into this team.
Yeah, do you think we'll see any other options come out maybe then over the next 24, 48 hours other than Sander Berge? Or do you think this is a deal as well that Man United will want to get done quickly? Because I can't see really any problems, can you? If Man United do genuinely want Sander Berge.
Yeah, the price, it's all down to price.
Stand up again.
Yeah, it's what they're willing to pay United. Well, what's on offer?
Sorry to interrupt there. Let us know what you think as well about a transfer fee for Sander Berge and what you think Man United should be willing to pay.
Yeah, it's the transfer fee again. Yeah. Every player, what we seem to be going for, not just United, around the football world. It's the transfer fee. It's what people are demanding. We've just heard this come out now. There's interest in him. But what's the transfer fee? How long's that going to take? And United fans are concerned that we haven't got the players in at the right time to start the football season. And that is a big worry.
Yeah, a few people getting involved, mentioning their own opinions on a number 6 instead of Sander Berge, etc. But a lot of people agree as well that Manchester United are making the right stand in not having their pants pulled down over transfer fees.
No, it is right that United aren't just standing there and having the pants pulled down, but also at the same time, I've got to turn around and say, how can they, at this time, after negotiating for nearly 2 months, how can they be that far apart from the fee, what they want, what PSG want and what Man United want to pay? I don't understand that. Yes, I'm all for not having my pants pulled down, trust me, right? But at the end of the day, United are saying they only want to pay what they seem deemed fit. Well, if they only want to pay what is deemed fit, why didn't they tell PSG 2 months ago what they wanted to pay? I don't understand. What kind of negotiations have gone on? I'm all for not having my pants pulled down, but I'm also for proper negotiations. This does not fit right to me at all.
Ansel says there are options for that midfield area. Zubimendi, Fofana, Veerman, Stack and so on.
Yep, there is options. United have told you they've got lots of options for different players. They've done it. They've done the homework. They've gone through it. They've got a list of players in different areas. It's whether they go for them. One negotiation breaks down, then they go for another. To me...
The problem is, though, I look at it from, as we're sitting here now, the date before the Premier League season. But if we get past that third game of the season against Liverpool, and that midfield is still having the same problems like we've seen last season, and we've not recruited anyone in this summer to sort that problem out, where does the blame lie?
Well, my genuine fear is that United fans will turn against Erik ten Hag and the club. Now, at the end of the day, the manager wants the tools in before the season starts.
He can clearly see what's needed in that midfield. It's up to the club to get the player in that he wants.
Yes, that's right. Now, he's in there. We all know Erik ten Hag's under massive pressure. Imagine he doesn't get the players in what we see he needs and what he wants. The press, the media are going to pile right in. If we've not been able to negotiate and get the players in, whose fault is it? The negotiating team? The financial restrictions we've got? I'm not sure who to blame here, but certainly it's not down to Erik ten Hag to go and get the players. He's in discussion with the committee about targets, what they want. So go and get them. Unfortunately, there's lots of problems around it, but Erik ten Hag will get the blame. And that's what I fear about United fans turning on Erik ten Hag. Everything's in place. The right people, the executives have been brought in, the negotiating team, everything else, the coaching, the scouts, the lot. And there's Erik ten Hag just sat there waiting.
Abra says someone is lying concerning Ugarte and PSG.
I fully agree.
Yeah, there's something going on behind the scenes because of, like you said earlier on, the time it's took for Manchester United to come out, well, through David Ornstein, to basically walk away and look at other options.
I fully agree. Someone's lying. Someone is definitely lying. How can they be that far apart after negotiating a transfer fee? The first thing they both do is demand what they want and what they want to pay. And then you start negotiating. That's clear to me in any negotiation when it comes to a transfer fee. And it's been 2 months and we've been fed stories in the media day after day, day after day. So something's wrong, and it might be that someone is lying. That's what I believe, and obviously people out there believe that.
Might not believe me, but you're very good at negotiating fees when it comes to it as well, through past experience. Now, moving on to another fee, And that's Aaron Wan-Bissaka as well. And Man United are demanding an £18 million fee. Is this another transfer saga that's going to rumble on until the end of the, until the transfer window closes?
I think so. I've always said it. West Ham will play hardball. They don't want to pay £18 million, and they're just sticking there. And they know that Aaron Wan-Bissaka wants to leave Man United. That's fact. So at the end of the day, it looks as though they're just going to sit there and wait. And then Aaron Wan-Bissaka goes there for 10 million, maybe 12 million. So United are in a big, big problem. Do they carry on keeping the player for a year and then let him walk out and then not go for a right? They're only going for a fullback in the right position, a right fullback, because they know Aaron Wan-Bissaka wants to go.
I'm not too sure. I have a different opinion on that. I know you think Wan-Bissaka wants to go, but I think he still wants to stay at Manchester United, run his year down, what he's got left on his contract, walk away from it on a free, and then get a bigger deal somewhere else. But that's just my opinion. Let us know yours.
But that's not saying he doesn't want to go. You're saying he wants to run his contract down and leave Man United at the end of it.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that's an option for him.
Yeah, that's an option.
That's also, if I was in issues, it's a better option than leaving to go to West Ham now. West Ham, as we sit here now,
quite
and
right.
they're going to pull up any trees where they're, looking at getting into the Champions League, etc. Would you rather go and sit? Well, he would actually start for West Ham, to be fair. So if he does want to go and play football, West Ham would be the place to go and be, because he's got Delo, who's probably our first choice right back at the moment. So his game time's going to be limited. So I do see little points of view. I do get it. In
that scenario, you're saying that he wants to run his contract down and then go somewhere else. That confirms the same what I'm saying, that he wants to leave. How he does it, we're umming and ahhing about it.
Yeah. Unless we know the facts or get the facts. And like with De Ligt and Mazraoui from Bayern Munich, I can only see Mazza coming in, obviously, if Wan-Bissaka does leave.
Correct.
But I did see a report in the Independent newspaper this morning saying that United are looking at going in with a second bid for De Ligt and Mazraoui. So that could be ominous in the next 24 to 48 hours.
Well, if they're going in for a joint bid, that won't work because Wan-Bissaka's still there.
Yeah.
The negotiation, and you look at De Ligt, how long's that been going on? 3 months? 3 months? He has already agreed. Mazraoui has agreed personal terms. Yeah, right. So at the end of the day, why aren't they here? De Ligt should be here. There should be no problem. The fee should already be agreed. I think we're going to hit the same thing here at the end of the transfer window. I think the door is going to close here. That's my fear.
It sounds a simple opinion, but a lot of people have been saying it, and I agree myself that surely the first question is, when you're going into negotiations, is how much do you want for the player?
This is what I'm telling you, right? And you clearly know that. We're all not daft here, right? You look at a house, you're going for an house, and you think, right, I fancy that house. I wonder how much it is. You ask how much it is. They tell you how much it is. Simple as. So someone somewhere is pulling the wool over our eyes. It cannot be acceptable that from a Manchester United point of view, right, that they didn't know how much it was going to cost. I just don't understand that. And I'm not accepting that they didn't know.
What would be the price that you'd pay for Ugarte? What do you think's reasonable in the modern day transfer market? By the sounds of it, PSG want roughly, I think on that report from Ornstein, roughly about £51 million. So what do you expect United to be like coughing up?
Well, the reports are that they want the same money what they paid 12 months ago for him.
Yeah, for Sporting.
They clearly can't fit him into the team, or they're changing the tactics, and he doesn't fit in. So it's not worked out for him. So what you have to do in them circumstances in life, it's not worked out. You have to wipe your mouth, take a loss and move on. They're not prepared to take a loss. So I would turn round and say, what I would be happy paying is 35 to 40 million. That's what I would pay, okay? They're not prepared to take a loss and wipe the mouth.
Anything more to add, though, before we go?
It's carnage. Absolute carnage. But I always expect chaos and carnage, but it seems to be getting a little bit worse. But I also have to accept the fact that the PSR rules, the financial restrictions, are hampering Manchester United. But welcome to the football world, Sir Jim Ratcliffe. You're going to learn a few lessons. Hopefully you do. This is football. It's not Ineos business.
Affecting everyone else in the Premier League as well, the PSR.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can get you on the transfer negotiations team at Manchester United. Maybe things might get done a bit quicker.
Well, what calibre, what do you need to be on the negotiation team? First thing, ask a question. Well, what's that? What's that? What's the first question I've got to ask? I'm on the negotiating team. Oh, how much do you want? Simple, innit? I don't get it. It's driving me nuts. It's not keeping me awake, right? But it's driving me nuts. And people out there can see the sense in that. Ask the question when you first talk to the person you want to pay.
Right.
No, but it's right, though, isn't it?
It's right.
It's mental, it's daft. I know we're having a laugh and a joke, right? But there's a serious side to it. And I'm also angry and frustrated about it. It doesn't make sense.
Right, we're going to get you some night nurse tonight.
I don't need night nurse.
No, I think you're going to need it later on tonight. So we've got you back feeling fresh in the morning.
Oh, I'm fresh.
Right.
I'm fresh and ready to go. I want to do another.
Yeah.
Find me something else to go at.
Right, well, hopefully in the next couple of hours we get some positive news around transfers.
Yes.
And we will do another video, I promise you, before 4 o'clock if news does come out.
Yeah.
But I'd just like to thank you all for joining us today. If you want to help support us, you've enjoyed the video, please smash a like on the video and we'll be back either later on with your opinion.
Yeah, with my opinion.
If we're not later on, we're back tomorrow. Can't even think straight right now, but love you all. See you again soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much.